Good evening. Welcome to Jazz at the Library. Thank you for coming. You brave souls who weren't afraid to come out in a tornado, right? You all got that tornado warning? I felt pretty safe. There aren't really a lot of windows in this building. I was already here. There's a storage closet I thought I can go hide in if I had to. So anyway, I want to get these thank yous out of the way because I sometimes forget at the very end. So I want to thank Woodward Park for this venue space, and particularly head librarian Laura Fleek, who really goes out of her way to be gracious to us and to our audience. I want to thank Woodward Park Friends of the Library, KFSR 90.7, who's our radio sponsor, Chuck Rulecki, our engineer, who would normally be recording, but the gentleman is an octogenarian and was bringing his recording equipment in the rain and slipped, fell. I think he went for stitches, but the equipment, he said, but the equipment was fine. So there's a trooper for you, huh? So he will not be here recording, but we're recording. And Bill Reeve for capturing now our audio and our video and for doing most of the work on our grants. I want to thank Sandy for manning the information table for the grants. Yes, that's really helpful. And then our JazzFresno intern, Eli Parr. Bill already told you about Measure P, and so I don't have the proper wording. I'm going to leave that to Bill. He already kind of covered that. And he mentioned that the inaugural second year of the grant, Fresno Latin Jazz Orchestra will be performing here at the library Thursday this month on the 30th out in the patio. So we've ordered no rain for that evening. 6:30, the usual time, but last time we did it out in the patio, we had over 200 people show up. That was in June, so it was a little warmer. But bring a chair just in case. We'll have some chairs, but if you want to bring something more comfortable to sit in, that's up to you. And then next month, Jazz at the Library will be the 19th of May, and that's our normal Tuesday, and it will be Mike Dana presenting Full of Wonder, which is the music of Stevie Wonder, explorations of the music of Stevie Wonder. And then as an advertisement, I'm wearing this to tell you that back in the fall, we relaunched Milestones, which is our youth jazz project. That was a successful program that we ran for a number of years, and then it needed to shut down for a period of time, and COVID kind of put the cap on that. So we just reinvigorated it in fall, and it's now in its second semester this year. So it's ongoing right now. And what is Milestones? Well, it's an opportunity for your kids or your grandkids or your neighbor, anyone middle school and high school who want to explore jazz. Maybe they're playing in their school jazz band. So this would be supplemental to that. We try to make an opportunity for students to explore the improvisation side so they can play in a small group, a small combo. Jazz is basically built on the fact that we improvise. But in the school setting, oftentimes you have a big band and the director has time to work with the students to get the arrangements and the ensemble sounding good, but they don't necessarily have time to work on improvisation with the students. So in a small combo setting, there's much more attention one-on-one, and you really have to put out, since the pressure is kind of right there. You can't hide, is my point. And so Milestones provides that opportunity. So it's ongoing right now, and Bill, we have a performance coming up. When is that?
May 9th, they're going to play at Tap and Cellar.
May 9th, Tap and Cellar.
And May 16th, it's going to be in an outdoor setting in a really beautiful backyard, and you're all invited.
May 16th will be an outdoor setting in a beautiful backyard. You're all invited. So the 9th at Tap and Cellar at just 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
And more details on the jazz calendar.
Okay, so check our website, jazzfresno.online, check the events calendar, and that's how you will stay informed. So, enough of that. Let's get on with tonight's program. So, we are blessed to have in our area some transplants from the Seattle area. One of those would be our presenter tonight, who is living in Merced and teaching at the University of Merced. He's a microbiologist and jazz trombone player. But we have a keyboard player that was recently transplanted from Seattle, And one of our guest soloists tonight flew in from Seattle. So they're helping us to keep jazz alive here in Fresno, and we appreciate all of our people performing tonight. So without further ado, may I welcome to the stage Chris Amemiya.
Joe, thank you very much. We're going to start off with a tune called Just Friends. It's a very old tune, and in fact, the most important person today in the room happens to be my wife here, because actually I left the music on my copying machine, and I didn't have it. I took the copy so that I could make a copy of that front page, and then she just brought it in. So, piano player will be reading it. Okay, so Just Friends. One, two, three, four. So I'd like to introduce you to the members of the group. We're a sextet, and one of the stalwart bass players in the area. He's played with everybody. I first met him just today, actually. And he actually has done some recording with a friend of mine, Paul Yanamura, up in the Bay Area. I used to live up there. Please welcome John Lauffenburger. Next on drums, who's also the president of the JazzFresno Society. In addition to being a drummer, he's a percussionist. He had gigs earlier today on percussion. I think he plays all the percussion instruments, including timpani. Please welcome Joe Lizama. And all of you know Joe because he's a familiar countenance in this area. He has also played for over 40 years with Johnny Mathis. He was Johnny Mathis's percussionist for all these years. So quite amazing and that he's actually able to be here and play with us tonight. Collin Provence. I met Collin when we were in Seattle a few years ago. He played in a big band that I played in, as well as some other groups up there. He has, he's in the area because his wife is actually a physician who's doing her internship here in Fresno. And please welcome Collin Provence. And despite the fact that he actually has a master's in education, he's actually not teaching music. He's actually teaching school kids, I think.
Yes.
Right. So, and speaking of medical doctors, Dr. Martin Rossip here, he has, if you just looked at his record, you'd be amazed. He's really a polymath. And not only did he, before he even went to medical school or college, I think he actually developed all these, he developed these software codes, and he became independently wealthy at that point. Eventually he became a physician, and he was an emergency room doctor for many years, but I think he gets bored. I mean, he likes to play saxophone, and so you can see him in a lot of groups in the Bay Area. But in addition, he's also he's a realtor. He owned an apartment complex in Merced, California, that he managed. I don't think you have it anymore, right?
Let's move on.
So Martin Rossip. I actually met him a couple of months ago. I was, where's Joe? Back there, yeah. He got us to play on Temptations and Four Tops gig, and that's where I met Martin. Last but not least is Jay Thomas. Jay is he's a Earshot Music awardee multiple times in Seattle. He the theme for this presentation is East versus West, small group, sextet kinds of things, and we're kind of basing it on Art Blakey kinds of music. And we started off playing actually a lot of Art Blakey kinds of tunes, and it sort of branched out. And so Art Blakey and Horace Silver and some of these folks, they have a brand of writing for sextet that is really hard-nosed, and we're going to actually do one of these compositions next. But Jay Thomas has been on the scene for years and years. He actually also lived in New York for a while, so it's fitting that we say this is East versus West. And now he's in Seattle. I think he doesn't want to leave Seattle. He could have certainly left Seattle many, many times, but he's a multi-talented instrumentalist. He can play trumpet, flugelhorn, all the saxophones, which he didn't bring. He's actually, he has a tenor saxophone there, but also plays incredible flute, and I've seen him do solos on piccolo. This is Jay Thomas. And next we're going to do a tune that was written by Lee Morgan. And Lee Morgan has quite an illustrious history. He's an incredible trumpet player. He was an incredible trumpet player. He died quite prematurely, actually. You want to tell him the story about that?
Yeah. Lee Morgan, he was a prodigy. He started out in high school, junior high and stuff. He was spotted by people like Jimmy Heath and Dizzy Gillespie. He soloed with Dizzy Gillespie's big band and all kinds of things. And unfortunately, later on, there was a kind of a prevalence of certain kind of drug activity, and he got really deep into that, and through a marital situation, it was kind of unbelievable. There's a real good documentary about his life, and what is it called? They called him Morgan. I recommend it. It's really good. The music is great. He played with Art Blakey and many people, and he did die prematurely. It was a very tragic accident, really. And he was playing at Slug Saloon, a bar, on the coldest night, snowy night, and aid car didn't get there in time. The snow was impossible to traverse, and he died. What was he, in his 30s?
Yeah.
Pretty young guy, but he wrote a lot of stuff. In fact, he wrote one called Sidewinder. It was like a kind of a boogaloo song, and it was a hit. I saw it on a car ad. You know, they played, you know, one of these real peppy things, and it was like a car came up to the beach and people jumped out and beach balls, and it was at nighttime and there was a fire and it was just so happy. I think they were selling a Chevrolet or something like that. And he probably made some money on that. Anyway, Lee Morgan, calling Miss Khadija.
How he died.
Well, yeah, it's grim. His common law wife, he was a philanderer. He was very, very excited person, and he was a philanderer. And she came down to the club where he was playing, and he had bought her a pistol for self-defense, supposedly. And they got into a little scuffle on the break. The purse fell down on the floor. The gun fell out, and she popped it, and that was it. The end of that. There was a kind of a weird story. Thelonious Monk, another great artist, he was working on the coast when this happened, and somebody ran into the band room and said, "Monk, Lee Morgan was shot." And Monk said, "I hope he was hitting a high C." You know?
One, two, three, two, mix up there, but that's okay. We ended up all together. Also, I should mention that Jay, in addition to being an East Coast, West Coast kind of person, he also, his father, as it turns out, was a dentist. And Miles Davis's father was a dentist. And then, first time I heard Jay was at a big band. Where was that? What's that square called?
Pioneer Square.
Yeah, Pioneer Square. We had a big band gig there. And the first time I heard Jay, I thought, am I listening to Miles? Am I listening to Chet Baker? Am I listening to Lee Morgan? I mean, all these sounds kept coming out, and of course, Jay's first child is named Miles. So, because I guess he was just enamored by Miles Davis. But anyway, we're gonna move to the West Coast now. This is a quintessential West Coast kind of sound. Even though it's Pennies from Heaven, and you probably remember the Louis Armstrong version of Pennies from Heaven, this is actually arranged by a friend of ours, Vern Seelert. Vern used to be in Seattle, and amazing trumpet player and composer and arranger. And he's since moved on to University of Idaho, where he's the director of the jazz program at Lionel Hampton School of Music. So amazing. He's written all these big band charts that we used to play. And so we're going to play our rendition of Pennies from Heaven. And this is, the band had never, we didn't have a recording of this, and we were supposed to record this at some point, but never got around to it. So anyway, it's been years, I think, since we actually read it. And so this is Pennies from Heaven. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2.
Thank
Sure, just push it. I need to kind of catch my breath a little bit. This was written, it's the far west, because this is a song that I wrote for my brother-in-law, Harry. After he died when he was really young, like 43 or something like that, several years ago now. And he was a teacher, he was an English teacher, and I wrote this for him after he passed away. And in Hawaii, we have a way of speaking, it was pidgin English. And this is called Song for the Teacher. Song for the Teacher. I'm going to see if I can play what I wrote. quite sad when he passed away. He had his family had a history of some heart troubles, and like a good Hawaiian, he actually didn't want to refrain from certain kinds of activities, which probably precipitated and accelerated his demise, unfortunately. Next, we're going to actually go back to the East Coast. This is a tune that was made famous by Dexter Gordon and by Slide Hampton, whose arrangement we're going to be think one of the, who was it that actually lifted this? I can't remember. But this is called, and it's very much indicative of the East Coast type of jazz that I mentioned earlier, kind of in your face. So this is, you don't know what lid is.
No, you said.
One, two, 1,
2.
Jay has actually been going to Japan a lot over the last 25 years maybe. And this tune was actually written by a Japanese composer, alto saxophonist. His name is Atsushi Ikeda. He's amazing on the alto saxophone, but also a great composer and arranger. And I don't know if you noticed, but on one of those slides, there was a thing where Jay had, it was a cover of his book. He's written an autobiography, and he has a lot of stories. I mean, a lot of stories. And it's fun to read, and some of the stories will just have those things. Anyway, so would you like to tell a story about Firefly and how you met Atsushi and how this piece came about?
I was going to Japan to work, and my wife and I would go and play at this club in Nagoya. She could sing in different languages, and we had a jazz group. And on one of the trips, I decided I wanted to go out and score a great flute, because there's a lot of great flutes that are made in Japan. So I had to find the best music store that would have those kinds of items. Went into the music store, and that's where I met this tenor player that kind of opened all the doors for me. I met him a couple of times, and and I had a little promo thing, because I don't speak Nihongo very well. So I had a little promo thing, and he looked on it and he goes, "Oh, wow," he recognized some of the names. So he said, "Yeah, come on down to this club at 9 o'clock, Wednesday night." Well, my gig got done at 9, so I walked down, I got a cab, or maybe subway or whatever, went to the club. And right away, I went in there, it was a real nice sounding room. They have a lot of wood. And wood really sounds good for horns. It was kind of a small club, great bass player and everything. And he says, "Come on, play now." I came in, oh wow, they were playing a tune I happen to know, lucky for me. And then they called another tune I happen to know, lucky for me. And during the evening, at one point, one of them asked me, "Did you ever see John Coltrane play live?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Okay, there we go. Next thing we're out eating, laughing our faces off, because we're so communication challenged and just having a blast." So he said, "Would you like to play with my big band?" I said, "Sure." So I've been going twice a year. Now, on one of the trips, I heard this alto player. He was so fast and really scary. So when I introduced myself to Atsushi, I said, I played, and it was, the sound of this club was not very good for me, trying to get over on trumpet. And he came up, he was very cold, and he goes, "You must be a good family man." The implication being, forget about music, And through, that all got fixed later on. And now we're like best friends. And we played at a temple one night, and it was dusk, and there was fireflies everywhere. It's a beautiful temple. And he wrote this tune called Firefly. And I just love going there, and I love these guys. And I've been working on my Nihongo a little bit. Anyway, I'm going in about a week and a half. So Atsushi, he wrote this, and it's just beautiful melody, I think. Hope you like it. Yeah, a lucky situation, right?
One, two, three, and... back to the East Coast. This is a Horace Silver piece. Horace Silver was, he was from, let's see,
In Africa, what's that,
Jamaica.
no, he wasn't Jamaican.
anyway, he wrote all these really catchy things. And the harmonies weren't so complicated, but he also infused a lot of rhythms into playing. And this one happens to be one of the more popular ones. This is called Nutville.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute, I got it wrong. We're gonna do one of Jay Thomas's compositions. No, I got it wrong. I misread it on my notes here. So, sorry about that. This is back on the West Coast, but as Jay mentioned, he actually spent a lot of time in these jazz clubs in the '60s, actually, and he witnessed the Seattle World's Fair. And I guess there was a club called HOE, which you shouldn't say out loud, but
It's the House of Entertainment was what it was called. And we called it the Ho.
you want to describe what it was? This
No,
jazz club?
it was an after-hours black teenage nightclub. If you can figure that, pretty fun.
Was it jazz?
It was a lot of R&B, and on that side there was dancers. There was dancing. It was a dance club, and it went really late, very late. That was the end of my school career.
Were you playing or dancing?
Wasn't dancing, but the band I played with was called Jimmy Pitkins and the Boss Five, and it was pretty fun. But that place is a real cool place. There was a lot of African American clubs in Seattle at that time. There was another one called the Black and Tan up on 12th and Jackson, and the Hole, and the Penthouse, Charlie Puzo's Penthouse. And there was a place next door called the Chariot. There was a lot of places, a lot of clubs. It was a different scene.
So this one combines some East Coast elements with, obviously it was written on the West Coast, but it has all these East Coast elements, including a thing that you might recognize, like the Blues March from Arcady.
Yeah, heavy on the blues.
We're probably okay for another one. We
Go
just
ahead.
have to be out of here before 9.
All right.
Or we all turn into pumpkins.
All right. All right, now we'll do Nutville.
So it would be remiss of me not to express some appreciation for Chris for inviting me. He sent me this, he put this whole thing together, he put the slides together, he put the Dropbox together, he did a lot of work on this. And when I first got the email, I was like, oh, there's no way I'm driving to Fresno. But he sent me the links of Jay. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a world-class player, and I'm going to get a chance to play with him if I drive to Fresno. So here I am. It's just my honor to play with him and all of you guys. And I'm also really happy to see my Fresno buddies here. John Ayala, fine saxophone player. Steve Daly, we play with these guys with the Temptations and the Four Tops. It's my honor. Joe Lenigan for bringing us all together in the back there. Your band plays here quite frequently, is that right?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, I just really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate playing with you, and thank you, Jay, for joining us from far away. Thank you.
Now we're going to do Nutville, and this is actually a Horace Silver's quintet, but J.J. Johnson was added to this to make it a sextet. One, two, three.
Thank you.
Joe Thomas. Martin Rossett. Dr. Martin Rossett. John Lauffenburger on bass. Joe Lizama on the drums. Collin Provence on the piano. Thank you very much.
Chris Amemiya. Just a reminder once again, we hope to see you Thursday, the 30th, out on the patio for the Fresno Latin Jazz Orchestra. Thank you very much. Watch out for those tornadoes going home.